The forest does not crown kings, it tests survivors. Welcome to Wildlife Chronicles, a channel dedicated to preserving nature by revealing the truth behind survival, the struggle, the intelligence, the pain, and the endurance that keep the wild alive. Every story we tell exists for one purpose: to remind humanity that the world is not endless and survival is never guaranteed. In this journey, you will witness 5 defining phases of a tiger's life. First, birth and fragility, where life begins helpless and hunted. Second, growth and early loss, where survival is learned through failure and grief. Third, injury and drought, where pain, hunger, and climate push the tiger to the edge. Fourth, conflict, aging, and decline, where strength is tested against time and rivals. And finally, legacy and endurance, where life ends, but survival continues through the next generation. This is not a story of dominance, it is a story of endurance. This is the tiger, born into silence, hidden deep within reeds and shadow. A tiger enters the world blind, deaf, and defenseless. There is no roar, no ceremony, only breath, fragile, uncertain. The forest does not pause for birth. Cold earth presses against fragile skin. The cub's heartbeat is faint, almost lost beneath insects, wind, and distant predators. At this moment, the tiger is not a hunter, it is prey. The mother lowers her head, her body forming the first wall between life and death. Her breath is controlled, her muscles remain tense. Even now, she cannot rest. Every sound is danger, every unfamiliar scent is a warning. Snakes slide through the grass, hyenas listen from the darkness, eagles circle above, floodwaters rise without mercy. Hunger tightens its grip on the mother's body. In the wild, over half of tiger cubs never reach adulthood. Rain collapses dens, insects invade wombs, starvation stalks the nursing mother. Still, she moves, one cub at a time. Carried gently by the neck, she relocates them again and again, exposing herself with every journey. Each step risks discovery, each pause risks death. There is no choice. If she fails, the bloodline ends here. Days pass, the cubs begin to squirm. Their cries are soft, but even a whisper can betray them. The mother responds instantly, pressing them closer. Silencing sound with instinct older than memory. Milk is not guaranteed. Some days, she returns with nothing. Her ribs begin to show. Her strength fades, but vigilance sharpens. Sleep comes in fragments. Hunger becomes constant. Fear becomes routine. The cub's eyes slowly open, revealing a blurred world of shadow and light. Their legs shake when they attempt to stand. They stumble, collapse, rise again. These first steps are not signs of power. They are acts of defiance. The forest watches without mercy. A single mistake, a wrong den, a delayed return, a careless sound, and everything ends. From the very first breath, survival is not promised. It is earned. The cubs grow slowly. Their legs are unsteady, their movements clumsy, their confidence borrowed from their mother. They trail behind her through tall grass, learning the world one painful step at a time. Play becomes training. Mistakes become lessons. A misplaced paw leads to a fall. A careless sound draws danger closer. The jungle does not correct gently. Their mother teaches without instruction, through silence, patience, and sudden violence when threats appear. The cubs watch how she listens before moving, how she lowers her body before striking, how she disappears even in plain sight. Every day is a test disguised as play. They wrestle and chase through dust and leaves. Beneath the games, instincts sharpen, muscles strengthen. The line between play and survival begins to blur, but growth is uneven. One cub lags behind, another stumbles more often. Weakness is not punished, but it is noticed. Illness arrives quietly. No wound, no sound, just a slowing. A body that no longer recovers from the cold. The mother senses it. She slows her pace, hunts closer, returns more often. But the forest does not reward compassion. Energy spent on one can cost the survival of all. Rain worsens everything. Damp fur, chilled bodies. Infection spreads unseen. One night passes differently. The cub does not rise. Its breathing fades. The mother nudges gently, then harder. There is no response. Morning arrives without explanation. One life does not rise. There is no mourning ritual, no ceremony, no burial. The mother pauses, then turns away. The forest does not wait for grief. The surviving cubs cry softly, searching for what is gone. Hunger calls louder than loss. They follow their mother forward. Loss becomes their first inheritance. Weeks pass. The cubs grow leaner, faster, more alert. Their stripes darken. Their senses sharpen. Hunger is no longer occasional. It is constant. They stalk small prey, failing often. Each failure costs energy. Each success buys time. Then comes the moment that changes everything. The mother does not intervene. A young deer strays too close. One cub lunges too early. The prey escapes. The lesson is brutal. Later, another chance. This time, timing aligns. Claws connect. The prey collapses. Blood spills onto leaves. The cub freezes, then feeds. The first successful kill ends innocence. Blood is no longer frightening. It is necessary. From this moment on, survival is personal. They are no longer only cubs following a mother. They are becoming predators, shaped by loss, sharpened by hunger, and forged by a jungle that never forgives weakness. The dry season arrives without mercy. There is no announcement, no warning, only absence. Rivers shrink into cracked memory. Mud hardens where water once flowed. Heat lingers. Prey migrates outward, following what little life remains beyond the tiger's territory. Hunger stretches from days into weeks. Every movement now costs more than it gives. An old wound returns. A scar along the paw, once forgotten, swells again. Flesh inflames. Infection takes hold. Each step sends pain through bone and muscle. Speed disappears. Balance falters. Flies gather. They do not wait for death. They anticipate it. The forest notices. Predators sense hesitation. Prey senses weakness. Even the wind carries the message. This hunter is slowing. The tiger retreats, not from fear, but necessity. Shade becomes shelter. Stillness becomes strategy. The tiger waits through the hottest hours, conserving energy, listening to a forest that no longer offers opportunity. Days pass without food. The body begins to consume itself. Fat vanishes. Muscle weakens. The stomach knots into a constant ache that dulls thought and sharpens wrist. Hunger rewrites judgment. A hunt is attempted too soon. The tiger stalks a deer near a drying riverbed. The approach is perfect. The timing is right. But pain steals speed. The leap falls short. The prey escapes. The course is immediate. The tiger does not chase. It cannot. Energy is gone. Strength collapses inward. The wounded paw buckles, and the tiger falls into the dust. Breathing grows labored. The sun presses down without pity. No shade is close. No water within reach. This is the edge. Not a dramatic battle. Not a final roar. Just exhaustion. Here, many lives end. Quietly, unnoticed. Vultures circle at a distance. Insects gather closer. Time slows into suffering measured by breath. The tiger remains still. Minutes stretch. Hours pass. Instinct whispers one command. Endure. Night arrives cooler, but no kinder. Pain pulses with every heartbeat. Sleep comes in fragments, broken by thirst and vulnerability. At dawn, clouds gather. Not suddenly, not generously, just enough to darken the sky. The first rain does not heal. It cools the ground. The tiger drinks from shallow pools, tongue trembling, reclaiming something close to strength. Days later, rain returns again. Slowly, quietly. Water reshapes the land. Streams reappear. Scents change. Life stirs back into the territory. The wound begins to close, not through power, but patience. Infection drains away. Swelling reduces. Pain dulls into memory. The tiger rises again, scarred, thinner, alive. There is no celebration. Survival resumes. The drought leaves marks that never fully fade. The injury becomes permanent knowledge, a reminder carved into bone and muscle. The tiger has crossed the edge and lived, not because it was strongest, but because it endured. Another tiger enters the territory. It begins with scent, unfamiliar, sharp, deliberate, a presence that does not belong. Claw marks appear where none existed before, carved deep into tree bark, fresh and intentional. Trees become warnings. The air itself changes, thick with challenge. Roars echo across the forest. They are not calls for battle. They are declarations. Each roar claims ownership. Each response rejects it. Sound travels farther than sight, collapsing distance as both tigers move closer, guided by instinct older than memory, older than fear. Violence follows. The clash is sudden and unforgiving. Stripes blur through dust and shadow. Claws tear through fur and flesh. Teeth connect with bone. Blood spills into the soil, darkening leaves, roots, and the ground that has witnessed generations of conflict. There is no elegance here, no strategy, only force. Muscle drives against muscle. Breath crashes against breath. Pain is ignored until it overwhelms restraint. The forest trembles, then stills. Victory is claimed. The intruder retreats, wounded and broken, carrying scars that will shape its future. If it survives, the forest grows quiet again. Territory remains intact, but dominance is never permanent. Years pass, seasons turn without concern. Monsoons flood the land, then retreat. Heat scorches what water leaves behind. The tiger continues to hunt, patrol, and defend. But the body begins to change in ways strength cannot prevent. Muscles lose density. Joints stiffen with cold mornings. Teeth wear down from bone and struggle. Each hunt demands more energy than it returns. Recovery takes longer. Hunger lingers longer. Mistakes appear where precision once ruled. Age does not announce itself. It does not warn. It simply arrives. The tiger still walks the same paths, still marks the same trees, but the forest responds differently now. Prey reacts faster. Escapes come easier. Rival tigers watch from a distance, patient, measuring weakness. Pain becomes routine. Sleep grows deeper, but less restoring. Hunger presses harder. The balance between effort and reward tilts toward collapse. Then comes one final success. A brief dominance reclaimed. A mating achieved. Cubs conceived. Life advancing even as strength fades. The lineage continues forward, unaware of the cost paid behind it. The old tiger hunts again. This time, the body refuses. The leap is slower, the strike weaker. The prey escapes untouched. Breath burns in the chest. Legs tremble beneath a weight they once carried without thought. Failure lingers longer than hunger. Night closes in. The tiger lies beneath familiar trees, listening to a forest it once ruled. Insects hum, leaves shift, the air cools. Breath slows, shallow and uneven. There is no audience, no rival waiting to strike, no final challenger, no dramatic end, only exhaustion. Dawn arrives quietly. Light touches fur dulled by years of survival. Scars trace a life of conflict. Scavengers reclaim the body. Nothing is wasted. Nature does not mourn. It recycles. Bones crack beneath beaks and claws. Feathers scatter. Life moves on. Even in death, the forest teaches lessons of endurance, efficiency, and inevitability. Elsewhere, cubs move silently through the grass, unseen. Their bodies low, muscles coiled, senses stretching into the world. They learn not from instruction, but from inheritance. Instincts written into bone, blood, and memory. Every step, pause, and twitch carries a lesson older than themselves. Stripes blur with shadow. Movements become precision. Awareness sharpens. Prey and predator are no longer distant concepts, but immediate reality. Every rustle, scent, and shift in the wind is interpreted and remembered. Adaptation continues. Survival is not a choice. It is a requirement. The tiger does not survive because it is strongest. It survives because it endures. It survives because it adjusts to loss, injury, hunger, drought, rivals, and the passage of time. Every hardship leaves a mark. Every battle carves wisdom. Survival is earned, shaped, and refined by the trials of existence. From the cub's first hunting attempts to the old tiger's last struggle, every heartbeat tells the story of life in the wild. Life is fragile, life is fleeting, yet it persists. At Wildlife Chronicles, we tell these stories not for spectacle, but for preservation, not to entertain, but to awaken. Understanding the wild is the first step toward protecting it. Awareness creates protection. Protection creates a future, a world where tigers roam, rivers run, forests thrive, and every species has its place. These stories are urgent. Every loss reflects a world changing faster than ever. Humans encroach, habitats vanish, climate shifts, lessons learned by a tiger, endurance, adaptation, vigilance, are lessons for all life, including our own. If this journey moved you, remember your power in the chain of preservation. Share it. Let others witness the struggle, the loss, the resilience. Subscribe to follow the ongoing story of survival, the paths of the hidden, the endangered, the remarkable. Every click, view, and voice strengthens the call for protection. When the next generation of cubs slinks silently through the grass, when rivers flow once more, when forests breathe freely, that is the reward for your awareness. That is the impact of your choice to engage. The tiger does not fight for glory. It does not fight for admiration. It fights for life. And so must we. For it, for them, for all the wild that cannot speak for itself. Preserving the wild begins with understanding it. Every life matters. The future depends on us seeing clearly, acting wisely, and protecting fiercely. This is not the end of the story. It is the beginning. The cubs will grow. They will hunt. They will survive. If we let the world survive with them. So share this. Subscribe. Witness. Protect. The wild is speaking. Are we listening?